let's just settle into our nice, comfortable seated posture. All right. And, as we usually do, have both feet flat on the floor, about a hip's width apart, shoulders aligned with the hips, and your hands just resting comfortably in your lap. Feel the weight of your sits bones in the chair, shoulders aligned with the hips. And think about this idea of aligning your rib cage with your hips. So you want a nice aligned spine to give yourself the best opportunity to concentrate and to meditate and to, allow the energy and the blood and the air to flow. And imagine your ears aligned with the shoulders as well. So now think about your spine as this beautiful string of pearls of light that stretches from the base all the way up through the crown of the head and beyond. And it's not necessarily, completely straight. The spine has curves, natural curves. And just imagine lengthening, you're putting some space in between those vertebrae. And just go to the crown of the head and relax the scalp, the forehead, the eyes, the back of the eyes, your eyebrows, your eyelashes, the nose, the cheeks, the jaw, back of the tongue, the temples, back of the neck. And allow your shoulders and shoulder blades to drop down. Relax the throat, the chest and the belly, and all of your limbs. Notice the sensation of the air as you inhale and exhale. The breath sensations. Could be at the edges of the nostril, the chest cavity, thoracic area, or the belly. And then be aware of any sensory activity in your environment, sounds, smells. And try not to follow with the mind. And then just be aware of what's going on in the mind this evening. It's probably a little different to this morning. Just try and put some space in between your thoughts. And be curious about what's in your mind. Try not to judge. Just be objective about what's there. And just view your mind with compassion. And wherever it is you're at on your own particular journey, that's where you're at. You cannot be anywhere else. So there's also this kind of acceptance about where you are without any comparison to any other person, spiritual practitioner. friend, family member. Each one of us has a journey that's unique, starting with birth. And then we transition to death and beyond. And then we kind of continue our unique journey. So anyway, bring to mind all the people of your life, your loved ones, your strangers, the ones you have aversion for. Keeping in mind these relationships are all equal. And they're interchangeable. The relationships are equal, the people are equal, I mean, in their wish to be happy, the wish to be free from suffering, and having this extraordinary capacity for a Buddha mind. So we'll do this meditation this evening, excuse me, for all these people of our life, and by extension, all sentient beings. So each one of you here may have people that you're thinking about. I'm particularly rejoicing for Shrey today because this talks of ceasefire and release of hostages. So it sounds like things are calming down a little bit in his area of the world. And of course, there's a lot of activity around the fires, which are still burning, and they're still finding people, and there's an enormous community response. Even up here, people are. There's that one woman I know, she's just getting a bunch of clothes together. She owns a store up here, and she's driving down this weekend with some clothes for people. And she has a very busy life, but she's putting time aside to go through the clothes and decide what can go and what can't. She's sorting everything. It's quite a lot of work. So I just think for all these people who are volunteering and helping and stepping up. So we think there is no negativity that can't be purified. And this purification process is basically a psychological one. And we create negativity with our mind so we can change it equally by creating positivity instead. So we start with the power of regret. So sincerely regret from the depths of your heart anything you have done to harm any living being on this day, in this life, and in all of our past lives. And think of specific actions of both your body and your speech, and then in general regret all. And the reason to regret is based on this logic of karma. And we experience everything due to our past karma, our past actions. So having harmed others, we ourselves will necessarily experience suffering in the future. And we cannot bear the thought of any future suffering that we might experience. And we know from our present suffering, we don't want any more. So logically, it makes sense to remove the karmic seeds before they ripen as future suffering for us. So think like this: I regret from the depths of my heart having harmed others with my body and my speech, having broken my vows, because I do not want the future suffering. I'm sick of suffering. And also regret any anger, attachment, and the rest that are the cause of why we harm others. And then think again, I'm sick of this suffering. And then think, what can I do about it? Whom can I turn to? So here we come to this power of reliance. So we turn to the Buddha, who we see as a doctor, who has these methods that we can use to purify. And we're not needing Buddha Vajrasattva to forgive us. We're purifying ourselves by relying upon his medicine. So you imagine Vajrasattva above the crown of your head. You can also imagine this is the mind of your teacher manifesting in this form for your benefit. And he's made of this beautiful, radiant, blissful white light, sitting cross-legged on a white lotus and a moon cushion. And he has a beautiful, radiant face. His eyes are long and peaceful and full of love and compassion for you and all those people of your life. He has a sweet red mouth. His hair is black and held up in a top knot. His arms are crossed at his heart, the left underneath the right. The left is holding a bell representing wisdom, and the right is holding a vajra, which represents the indestructibility of compassion, and their being crossed represents the union of these two, and this symbolizes enlightenment itself, the development of infinite wisdom and infinite compassion. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened by this practice of meditating on Guru Vajrasattva. May I reach Buddhahood so as to benefit all sentient beings. If everyone could just go ahead and mute yourselves, please. Someone's mic is off. So in order to develop compassion, so this is reliance. This is part of this section on reliance. And this time we're relying, instead of relying on Vajrasattva, we're relying on other sentient beings. So the beings we have harmed. So just develop in your mind a wish for them to be free from suffering. And then the ones who've harmed you, and particularly for these ones, because the harm they've caused you is going to result as suffering for them in the future. So make a strong aspiration to do this practice of purification for the sake of all these beings, and think I must purify for their sake. And now we come to this power of remedy, and this is the actual medicine, doing the practice of purification. And we start with the body, and Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful white nectar, like coming out of a hose, quite forcefully from his heart. And it arcs around and enters your crown and pours into your entire body, filling you completely. And it keeps pouring into you until it forces out of your lower orifices all the harm you've ever done to any living being with your body in the form of inky liquid. And this pours out of you and disappears into space, not one atom left, as we recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipukaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hom Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipukaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipukaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra A Hum Pe. So be delighted that all the harm you've ever done to any sentient being with your body is now completely purified, and think that there's no way you could do anything other than benefit others now with your body. And next is this purification of our speech. And I think this is where we likely do the most damage. the most harm to ourselves and others, So imagine Vajrasattva now sends nectar again from his heart chakra and arcs around and forcefully enters your crown and fills your entire body, except this time forcing up to the top of your body all the negativity of your speech, and this overflows and disappears into space, not one atom left. So just imagine all the gossip and the harsh speech and the useless speech and lying and talking about people behind their backs and getting other people to agree with you. All this is purified by this powerful nectar filling you as we recite the mantra again. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipukaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitam Me Sitam Shiyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipukaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitam Me Sitam Shiyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipukaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitam Me Sitam Shiyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitam Me Sitam Shiyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitam Me Sitam Shiyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitam Me Sitam Shiyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitam Me Sitam Shiyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahum Pe. So again, feel so happy that your speech is now completely purified. And imagine it's not possible to do anything other than benefit others now with your speech. And next is the purification of our mind. And imagine Vajrasattva very compassionately sending powerful beams of light from his heart chakra. And this arcs around and enters your crown and fills your entire being. So you imagine you've walked into a room and you flick on a switch, and the light that comes instantly dispels the darkness. So the same here. The moment the light from Vajrasattva's heart hits your heart chakra, all the darkness of the negativity of your mind, all your attachments and neediness and bitterness and grudges, depression, anxiety, all of this instantly dispelled, not one atom left, dispelled by this light. Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitam Me Sitam Shiyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitam Me Sitam Shiyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta me boa sawa sidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me. Sitam Shriam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Ambhadrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Patita Jita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawa Sidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasafa Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Patita Trita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawa Sidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasafa Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Patita Dita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawa Sidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Patita Dita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawa Sidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe. So again, be delighted that all your delusions, which are the source of all of our own suffering, and the cause of why we harm others with our body and our speech, are completely purified. And think now there's no space in your heart for anything other than love and kindness and forgiveness and wisdom and bliss and compassion. So next is the purification of even the imprints of negativity of our body, speech, and mind. And this time, imagine that Vajrasattva sends light and nectar, and it fills you completely and eradicates even the subtlest imprints of negative energy from your consciousness. So, as we've been doing, imagine the nectar coming down and purifying the body, coming up and purifying the speech, and then just being blasted by this light to purify all the delusions. Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawa Sidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawa Sidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawa Sidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawa Sidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawa Sidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawa Sidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawa Sidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramimi Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Hum Pe. Now feel completely purified. There's not one atom of negativity left in your mind stream. Even the subtlest obscurations to your enlightenment have been removed. And now we come to the power of resolve. And this is the fourth and final step in the purification process. And it's a really crucial one. This is this determination to refrain from harming with our body and our speech and our mind. So first of all, rejoice in your making time to come along tonight. Even though it's only 30 minutes, it kind of breaks up your evening. For some of you, you'll be going to bed after this. So you've also kind of given up a bit of either television time or practice time, your personal practice time or sleep time to do this practice. So, just rejoice in your efforts coming along. And then think about maybe something you've been working on. Maybe it's your body, maybe it's your speech, maybe you have this negative self-talk that would be a really good idea to catch a hold of that. And as I said, been saying the last few days, maybe just don't necessarily believe everything that's in your mind. If you haven't eaten, if you haven't exercised, if you haven't slept really. As I was saying yesterday, I don't get through all of those three. So I'm going around right now, not believing, the delusions might arise and I'll be like, oh, yeah, no, did I sleep? No. Did I have enough sleep last night? Probably not. Did I eat? No, I'm an hour away from lunch. Did I exercise? Yeah, I did a little bit. So anyway, just think about that. It's always good to question what's going on in the mind. Try and release the thoughts. So imagine Vajrasattva is delighted with us and wants to merge with your mind, and he melts into white light and absorbs into you through your crown. And think, my teacher and mind are the same. Let's just take, and first, but first all Rinpoche would talk about, thinking about emptiness, so you don't destroy the merit that you've created. So even if it's just the word, so think there is karma. There is no action of creating negative karma. There is no negative karma created. So at whatever level you understand emptiness, place your mind there for a little. All phenomena as being empty. They do not exist from their own side. You can also think the way things are appearing to me might not necessarily be the way they exist. So I think I understand that, for example, dogs will see things not in color the same way we do. They see it sort of like gray, is what I understand. But they have a far, far, far better sense of smell than we do. They have many, many more receptors. So, they have a mind that's lit up by their olfactory senses. So they can sense things that we can't, and vice versa. So let's just dedicate all the merit, all the positive energy you've created doing this practice to all living beings, and think, may all the virtuous karma I've created from doing this practice ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings as quickly as possible. So let's just do our chanting the names of Manjushri. Aware of Danya's each and every aspect, with knowledge of Samadhi's types and families, the best of bodies, bodies of Samadhi, the sovereign king of all enjoyment bodies, the best of bodies, emanation body, the heir to emanations of the Buddhas, with varied emanations everywhere, while benefiting all, however needed. Excuse me. The sovereign of all gods, the god of gods, Azura Lord, the ruler of immortals, the king of deities, the god's guru, the highest Lord of Paramatha. Okay, everybody, let's just have a strong wish for His Holiness the Dalai Lama to live long, for the swift return of our precious Lama Zopa Rinpoche, and for all of your own individual teachers.